okay, can you make it three different things actually from this card, like this color or this terms or this writing, which one is get the most? And then that's what happened. And then evolved too, and evolving from that, it was I remember this panda that time like in the I don't know like he's come he's he could gitu loh nih this one part I don't know there's this one part like but okay so I have this idea and then Ghani work it out like but I don't know like actually how they work it out but that's what is good.
Okay, all right. So
it's
we're basically saying that the idea was not originated from Ghani, but it was just sort of executed eventually by Ghani, right?
Executed by
Divanda.
By Devanda. So where does Ghani come in?
But I don't know, like basically, Cynthia was originally did it, and then I said, Cynthia, we have a content, so we need to focus on this because I cannot help you much in the,
Okay.
in the reservation and stuff. So you need to delegate this part to other people, and they can do it better.
Okay.
So that's what it's coming.
So it's not the delegation from Cynthia then?
That kind of sounds like that, actually, yeah. And that's a little bit worrisome because why would Ghani then put it on his own commercial too?
Maybe you see the paper and stuff. But I don't know actually the backhand.
Right.
Basically, that's how it evolved from my like emoji and you need to be more, because I said before auntie didn't even make the guess and then she got like mentioned mostly, so be just nice, and that's what I said. And then come up with Cynthia come up with like a card, okay, maybe can be better and then maybe ask Ghani to make it like more, whatever. And then delegation from.
So that's not really leadership. That's more kind of like workshop, right? It's more kind of like just the order comes in, process the order, than actually.
So yeah, that time it was like you see that because not many people did it with you, and then we ask why question. Oh, maybe because we do meet the guests and then how we do it, like So that's.
LC would be the why question comes up by that. Yeah. The why question should come up, and then the idea or solution should come up from there. Okay. All right. So we don't know whether or not to give credit for that. Then right? That's kind of a blurry one.
On that part, yeah, I don't know the coordination. Basically, the person delivered this card is Divanda, but I don't know Ghani how he delegated, how he mentioned it.
Okay. So.
Yeah, and the first time actually the panda explained it to me. This is gonna look like actually I cannot imagine in my head. And then he said, okay, I will do it next week. That's what the panda said, and then this is what we do.
Okay. What about this evening shot thing? That was also my idea. I think I came up with this, and also the travel shot. Those were my ideas, and I passed it to Ghani, asked him to see if this.
Yeah, the travel shot also he remember like the house with like kind of crazy editing, and then he
that's not a bad thing though. I would say that's ownership and leadership in that way. I never had to go back to Ghani after I explained the idea to get him to evolve or come up with more things. He was able to sort of take control of that on his own.
Like,
it's not coming back to you, but he's fixing out
But that's okay, right? Leaders don't.
I'm not saying that's not okay. Of course it's okay. But if you were talking about ownership,
what would own? Then you work in isolation.
Ownership means it's just like it doesn't matter like you ask who you delegate with as long as you want that project done. Right?
And you work it out all the way to the end.
All the way to the end. And then
whether
this is
conclusion
my result,
that is. Because imagine non-ownership looks like you have to constantly check and say, did you get it done yet? Did you get it done yet?
Yeah.
Like the way it was with the people who don't work here anymore, right? It was like constantly, did you do this yet? Did you do this yet? Did you do that? And then every time you peeked under the covers, there was nothing getting done. So that's not what we want to do, right? And that's clearly not the case in Ghani's case. Okay, let's try to find out what side we're more on right now, right? If we do say that Ghani is not senior, what is he then? Exactly. He's definitely not where he was in September, right? Can we agree on that?
I agree on that.
Okay, can we agree he's not where he is in September?
Yes.
And he's probably not where he is after the first promotion he had, right? Yeah, okay, so he's definitely involved from first promotion and wherever we saw him in September. So,
You're recording.
no, not here, Kitty Kate. That's so weird. Okay, so what is he then? Specialist level 2?
But my bigger question becomes then: are we going to keep doing that for people that falls in the middle? Are we keep? Will we keep creating more rules just because the wrong reason of like, oh, because he's not here yet, but then it's also not there.
A good question, though. I mean, in a way, I can't imagine Ghani is doing this for pay because he's getting most from, what was it? He's getting big chunks from, what do you call that? Extra burden right now. Yeah. So this is,
But
yeah.
when you roll out this extra burden to those two boys,
Yeah.
have you also addressed your expectation of like, this is
No.
like this is what I'm paying you for?
Not really. I'm paying them. So the extra burden is always put in to really, is really put in to stop people from quitting anymore, right? And essentially it's there to say, all right, now essentially the work is double, and we expect it to be more intense, which it is. And so this is what it's there for, to cover essentially the basic duties of the other person.
Not the head count, right?
Yeah. So essentially it's PCI work for the other person.
Head count.
Yeah. So because
But based
that
on that conversion rate performance,
doesn't look like it. Yeah.
I'm concerned. That's
Okay.
my biggest concern with content right now. And our client is not stuck.
Is it something that you think is a new challenge, or is it something to do with an existing challenge not being? Is it PCI or is it sort of PJC work? Meaning PCI would mean that it's old work that's not being implemented correctly using the standard method, right? Or is it at a new level where we just need a new invention to be able to keep up with it?
And we're talking about those performance.
Yes, we're talking about the performance metrics that you've noticed, right? That we're not getting bookings.
Yeah,
Is
we
it-
have guidelines.
Are they following the guidelines?
Once again, there might be a lot of factors.
All right.
With factors,
Of course.
the piles, the other clients the other products that we have to play. But we have guidelines A, B, C, D, D.
Are they following the guidelines?
Not all. It's like
Okay. There's shortcuts there.
Yeah, shortcuts.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good word.
All right. So then that's effectively a. Okay. That is then a leadership decision, I think, and maybe a leadership blind spot, which means essentially how do we want to actually. We know we're a bit understaffed right now, right?
Yeah.
There's not enough people for everyone. And we know everybody needs a little piece of everyone everywhere. So then the question is, did we set this person up correctly, or did we set this person up for failure? So my question is effectively, did we know that this could happen before we started putting him on so many different responsibilities? Or, because you can't kind of ask one thing, ask another thing, and expect both to be taken care of equally, right?
You say yes.
He did say yes. He did say yes.
Yeah.
But it's also part of our job to understand what yes means. And you can deny somebody's nomination. You can deny their volunteering too as well. Say, no, you can't volunteer because you've already got too much work to do. But if we say yes to somebody volunteering or whatever, then it might be our failure too as leaders to properly manage their bandwidth.
Probably there's also a question that I keep asking myself.
Which is fair as well too, right? Which is hard too.
I think
The point is here though, right, that we're not talking about somebody who necessarily has strong leadership skills yet, right? We're talking about somebody who's earning their way up the thing and who needs guidance. So is this their responsibility to figure it out where they should be? Also, we know the person's natural tendency is to say yes, is to be helpful, is to like not say no to
Especially
anything.
for those examples, they will always
Or say yes to everything. Yeah.
That's their call.
And that's amazing too in a certain way, right? Because what would happen to Squad 4 if we didn't have anyone say yes, right? It would just tumble into nowhere. And ultimately, content does serve the squad. So I would say that in this particular case, let's look at the condition of what it is, and let's decide whether or not, given imperfect conditions, did this person actually exhibit a high amount of integrity, motivation, and all the correct factors that we would expect.
Yes.
Senior quality, like right now, you have to go into PCI work, right? It's dragging on you too now, right? You can't work on projects. But would I actually say you're not performing at, let's say, what I expect a chapter person to do? I would not. And simply put, I've had to clean the floors here sometimes if Elo's not. I've had to do hosting too. I haven't done hosting in a while, so I can't claim that. But I've had to do other jobs that are outside of my immediate scope because that's where I need to be, right? In order to stop everything from falling apart.
Yeah,
But that is leadership competency in a way. That is leadership competency because it's about where should you be, not so that you look right at a promotion review and you can tick all the boxes and said, I've had a perfect thing, but fuck my team and they've had a tough time. But it's more kind of like, yes, things are screwed up, but did they make the best out of the crisis?
but I think focus is needed because especially
I agree.
basically me,
I
right?
agree.
I touch everything,
I agree.
and I'm hoping I set up a thing like I'm hoping other person to.
What do we need to focus on? We need to focus on things that are the most urgent. Is Squad 4 urgent right now? Kind of, right? We've lost, 50%? They belong to Squad 4, ultimately. You're their ultimate client. You're sort of like the senior person on the squad, right?
It was funny, Ghani and Rizal is squad 4 because we just squad 2. And
course.
then it's just, oh yeah, I new person, I squad 4. Okay, like,
Look, for this particular case, wait, actually,
but actually,
Mhm.
I feel if I'm like the squad team, like these people mostly in the squad team now, like Rizal, Ghani,
Ghani and
right?
Rizal have a special sort of circumstance too, where
So like,
they're in a chapter and they're in a squad, but such is the case for everything. So who's their ultimate loyalty to? Is it towards the chapter,
yeah,
or is it towards
sometimes
the?
even I'm not sure, like, I don't really communicate with me,
Right, and that's part of
I
the.
have this question. like,
Ultimately, it should have been where, each. It would have been nice if we could say, yeah, ideally one content person per squad, and that's all you focus on. But we clearly don't have enough bandwidth to. We don't have enough people to be so luxurious in assignment, right?
But actually, content as a chapter is better. It's
Okay, all right.
yeah.
So we agree then, yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Because what do you call it?
So ultimately, then
Well,
it's more important that
yes.
Ghani succeeds in the content chapter work.
Yes. Yeah. Whatever that in squad 4, like mostly volunteer.
Okay, here, let me ask this question, all right? If Ghani had gotten ideal, let's say, performance metrics for the SLA and nothing else, would we still promote him?
Sorry, can you repeat?
If he had ideal metrics for, let's say, here, right? If he had ideal metrics for listing conversion, but nothing on anything else, no squad performance, no, whatever, no projects on the side, no trying to influence, just doing that, would we still promote him? Just be PCI work, right? So it's kind of stuck either way. So I do feel this is a complicated one.
Yeah, this is complicated.
For sure.
This is super complicated because
Much more than I had anticipated.
yeah.
Well, I cannot sit for 2 days, 2 nights for this. I feel like this is my own promotion, I'm feeling the facts. I really want to promote this guy, but I think it's conflicted. I mean, Ghani is the one who's taking promotion, but I feel deg-degan juga loh, Cok.
No, that's good. That's maybe it's good and not good too. Maybe it can be a little bit less personally involved. It's
It's not personally involved, it's because then I also keep asking myself the question: do I lead Ghani towards correct directions or promotion? Then
that's what makes it actually kind of funny too, as well. Game theory would say that Diva would promote Ghani because it would improve our own chances of promotion. But actuality is quite the reverse now. Okay. Or we need a decision. We can't have a non-decision, right? But we need to have a decision that respects, I think, the integrity of the chapter and also the integrity of the squads. So we do agree that Ghani's progressed,
A
right?
squad, I pass. But if I'm the bar position, also I will be feeling
The main thing I think is distraction, right?
Yeah.
The main thing I feel like is distraction. We do see this in Ghani's case, and a lot less in Rizal's case for some reason.
Result is decisive. I am now in Bali. I can only attend squad one in a week.
I think the key difference is probably project management.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, result cut the project
But no, that's not the fundamental. That's a skill. This is more core to Ghani's behavior, right? About
I think
decisiveness, no?
I think like what from I learned from myself based on myself experience.
Mhm.
Like after a while, like I was like handling a lot of stuff. I was struggling with myself. Like what the fuck? I cannot do this right. I cannot do this right. I cannot do that right. And I sit there like, and then I figure out how many things that I describe, and then last like in November, like I see like 13 things that I think that fucking shit. That's why like I need to stop thinking.
Wait, that's
fast.
your case. That's your
Yes.
case, right?
But I think
What about
it's the
Ghani?
same like Ghani, but he cannot like he need to track like what he need like
to prioritize.
yes, prioritize.
Okay, let's come back around to the first discussion, right? Which was about like we said the last time Ghani can do, but he can't get others to do. Can Ghani get other people to do it? Has he made progress on that one metric now? Who trains the content people? Ghani does, right? Ghani trained Rizal, right?
Yes. Yes, yeah.
So Ghani got Rizal to do what he does in the Warrior. More or less.
I differ to result.
Okay, all right.
I mean, I see it like, I say me, I am a product of influences from you, from Mayana, from Tani, from Rizal. I'm a product of influences from other person.
Sure.
Depends how you gonna.
Depends, yeah, it depends. It's,
But then you create an environment and you create an umbrella over the people that you manage to help develop them too as well. Right? You create the vision, the SLAs, the standards, the goals, the communication, the rituals, the culture that becomes what that group of people do. A leadership competency is somebody who can create that too for the next person who comes in. Right? Ultimately, that's the crux of the matter. So, two parts to it. One is the action. You get Ghani and Rizal to, let's say, meetings, to think about content vision, to work on all the different content activities that produces the results, and that's how leadership competency is defined. Can Ghani do that? Can Ghani do that for, let's say, 6 interns that come in during the summer? Will he be able to organize them into a pod of people who... Has he done that already, actually? I mean, who is Devanda's handler? Who handled Devanda? Okay, so they're both... If one was more deficient than the other, right, would we have seen something show up already? Okay, let's say, for example, you had Nawful and Ghani work on a person. There would be a deficiency, right? You would notice that some person couldn't keep up right away. Content seems to be very, very quick at detecting that. So what I'm saying is, okay, if it's not clear who did it, Ghani or Rizal, if they're both involved in it, but if there's no deficiency, if there's no like, oh yeah, I had to do all the work and this other person was just fucking around the whole time, then I would assume that they were equal contributors, right, into that particular development of that particular person. That, to me, is a type of leadership competency. That is where you can trust that this person can actually, given the same set of difficult circumstances that you face, would be able to make similar decisions. this situation here is difficult for everybody. We can blame you too. We can say that you're part of the reason why this isn't happening.
Of course.
But this is a difficult situation shared by all. Plus the difficult situation shared by all at squad level. The question isn't about whether or not this is the best that it could ever be. The question is it the best it can be given the current reality of what we're facing right now with 3 people on content, long pipelines to get people in, multiple fires to put out in different spots, and is this, let's say, something that you consider a lack of judgment, a lack of understanding of priorities, or is it just kind of like, this is just kind of like the way it has to be right now? Okay, I'll put that out there. I'll put that out there first and see what we do.
I don't know what I understand.
If a leader can be a leader in a crisis, and a leader can be a leader in an optimal situation. A leader in a crisis, the only job is to get through the crisis, right? Like Alvin is a good example. Alvin never had a chance to shine and soar and do whatever because look how many crises he has to do. I can't point out and say you suck right now because the revenue's not growing. It's not really fair to say that at this point. What's fair to say is you should stop losing people on the team first and stabilize the condition of just the squad before we expect anything beyond that. So the idea is before we compare a race car with a race car, we should say, do we actually have equally, maintained cars in the first place? So that's what I think leadership competency is. It's not like, given 2 perfect situations, yes, okay, these people are both doing like equally well. It's more like given a bad situation, are you doing the best that you can possibly do in the bad situation? And given a great situation, are you doing the best that you could possibly do in the great situation too? That, I think, is a good measure of leadership competency. Not an absolute. Yes, this isn't great, but the new situation isn't great either. I mean, I worry about it a lot. I worry about the way I see it right now. I worry about risky first, right? And then I worry about content. I'm worried about market building the last, even though market building petitions and lobbies me the most. Because the way that things will collapse is from risky first and then content. And market building won't collapse because, if we lose, let's say, finance, then we lose control of the community, right? And then who cares about new partnerships or anything? The existing community will start rotting away and decaying. If we can't get that under control first, then we're just essentially smashing. We're overlooking. We're losing the foundation, right? So accounting needs to actually come first, right? Okay, what's the context of that? This where we're talking about.
I understand where you're going.
Right. So given that position, I would say that community needs to come first in terms of, let's say, I don't know if, once again, this is back to understanding. I don't know if Ghani is understanding where he needs to go, right? I don't know if it's conscious. But what he's doing right now, I would say, is not necessarily badly prioritized at the moment. He does need to go and stabilize situations on newly launched properties before we can onboard new properties. That makes a lot of sense, right? There's no point in producing new launches and being able to couple up with new growth if the existing listings don't work. And I think he needs to work his way from the existing listings back up. Now, I don't know if he's deliberate about it or if it's accidental or if he understands that's what's going on. But from what I see...
I think for Ghani, sorry to cut you.
Yeah.
I think for Ghani is this, it's like more fireman.
Like Rafik.
Yeah. Whatever you see problem, jump to the problem.
Right.
So, if he didn't basically have the big plan. What is effect A, effect B, what is effect B?
Mm-hmm.
I think so that is like he didn't have the master plan. That's why he's started.
Could that be it?
Yeah.
Technically, something that we discussed about this. Allah humalaka sumtu.
Which is?
The bigger picture was something, right? Bigger problem. Instead of a clarified. There's a lot more.
The fire sometimes is the biggest problem. Think about Rafik. We're kind of like in that. Funny enough to talk about Rafik, it's kind of the same, right? We're trying to get, let's say, hospitality as a chapter to work better to innovate and solve problems. But also, we need somebody to go and deal with the most difficult problems of the day, too, which there are plenty of. So, is it correct to say Rafik's not the lead? Is it correct to say Rafik shouldn't be treated as a person people can aspire to, or people can gain some advantage, or get some insights from? Um, Earthquake! God, just thinking about this problem too. We should probably get ready to run.
Wow, we get it on cam. Yes.
I felt an earthquake. Did anybody else?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you feel an earthquake? I like how we're so casual.
Yeah, I'm at the point where like, there, another earthquake.
What I'm trying to do is this, though. You're concerned about, let's say, if I understand correctly, a lack of competency, I guess, right? A lack of understanding, ability to deliver consistently and understand in a fundamental way what needs to be done first, right? Prioritizing. I haven't seen objectively if Ghani can prioritize independently himself, right? It seems like Ghani is his way of prioritizing is going where his heart brings him. Right. So if he feels that this person is suffering, I need to go there first to help this person out, right? I need to go over here to help somebody out. Which is ultimately a kind of a, it's not leadership excellence, but it's not,
in the hospitality.
it is a form of self-governance in a way. And it's a form of self-governance that actually can be reliably counted on as you are a chapter, right? If you know that Ghani will go to where there's a hospitality issue or there's a problem, that's one less thing you have to manage too as well. Rafik does not need to be told to go where the problems are. You do not need to say, all right, we need a delegate, somebody to deal with this overbooking right now, right?
That just will be like a signal on his head.
Right, it'll just kind of naturally follow that way. If Ghani will naturally pull himself towards where he's needed, is that a defect or is that a benefit? If Squad 2 is having problems getting something to perform, he goes over, he listens to the client, and the clients are happy with the work that he's doing. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. This stuff that's not getting done correctly right now, what would fix it? Everybody committing to the processes, or would it be a big project to fix it? Would it involve, like I said, like using cloud beds to fix this?
No, it's basically like if you done high context closing from the very beginning, this won't be right.
Right, like Atra, right?
Proportion, right? So if you do your basic job very meticulously, excellent from the very beginning, this won't happen, right?
You think that? You think it's not because of some other factor?
Because it's conversion, we're not unbelievable.
Oh, I see. What's more important right now, conversion or unbooked listing?
I think for revenue, unbooked, right? For revenue, pasti orang more concerned on the unbooked listing.
Right.
Like even market dealers are more. I see market dealers more concerned about this. Right. But this is actually helping the
long term.
Yeah, long term reservation team and.
Okay. All right. Wow. I'm usually the one that says no.
I know.
Okay. How is Ghani's relationship with you going to be affected if
Wait. I have one question.
Okay.
If this happened to result promotion and this is the song, will we still?
Will we start? Okay. Let's say this is Rizal's promotion. Will we say no to Rizal
You
too?
see that? You see still now?
Would have to be, right?
We have to be.
If this is the this is the focal point. So the focal point, we've got to come to a focal point, right? We have to agree what the focal point is. Let's do this, okay? We have to agree. We have to agree this.
Yeah.
What is the focal point? What is the thing that absolutely must matter for this promotion to succeed? And what is everything that doesn't really matter?
Yeah.
We talk about being able to get others to do as you do. We have some evidence of that happening already with this squad too, right? So that can't be the focal point right now. We talk about understanding what the greater thing is, right? And understanding what the meaning of his work means. Do we have any more discussion about that?
Yeah, I think I'm ready with that.
Okay, let's discuss about whether or not Ghani understands the output of his work.
Understand? I think so.
We think he understands the output of his work,
Yeah,
right?
because in the
he
squad
figured
board,
out
it always like, hey, I have problem with this. He noticed it, like this is
Right.
the way I want to fix it.
Which is what we want from a person who's leading, right? They need to identify problems and then
That's what
go over there to
I
look for it.
see,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. Okay. So it's not a question about the focal point of the focal point is not on whether or not being get others to do. The focal point is not on understanding. What is the focal point? Is it prioritization now?
Yeah, I think we need to
In
be
this desperate time, priority is important.
Okay. All right. So then let's talk about prioritization. Is Ghani's sense of prioritization correct or incorrect?
This is what I'm afraid of.
Okay.
My understanding of priority and your understanding of priority could be different.
I think so.
Mm.
Yeah. I think that could be it.
In your term,
Uh-huh.
is keeping the current headcount still here for like at least next month, and then that is your priority.
That's a funny way to put it. I don't think Ghani will actually quit if he's not promoted, right? I don't know, Ghani. Maybe you should tell us, right? But I don't think that he's. Let's say that's not weighing too heavily on my mind right now. What I'm more concerned about is merit, which is has this person done what they deserve to be promoted? And if we say no, then it should be very clear and laser focused that it's no because of this, not vague or or sort of like it just wasn't quite there again. And because I can see the effort, right? I can see the effort. I can see the progress. I can see the agreement even from a lot of the other clients. So if this is a no, it has to be a very, very, very clear no. There cannot be any vague no about this. So
I think this is kayak ulangan itu loh. Jadi dari point of 100, like which one is no and then what is the, so that we make decision.
but no, it's a focal point, right? It's a focal point. It has to be based on a very small number of things that we say are not right, and this is what you need to focus on. And they should be different than what we said last time, right? Or if they are the same things, then let's take a look at the video real quick and see what is it that has not actually moved at all since last time. Okay? Because otherwise it would just, from my point of view, it would just seem like a leadership issue, right? Or a sort of a, or maybe it's a capacity issue. Maybe it's just like this person can't grow past a certain point,
That's my question on the last one.
right? Maybe it's like they are where they are and they can't get past any further, and this is just where they reach their maximum level. Right? And if it's that, then we just have to be truthful. We say, hey, look, we think that you've reached the maximum level where you are, and you're a specialist forever here. Which I'm highly biased against thinking that, because I always like to think people can grow more. But yeah, but if it is, let's say, you just don't seem to get it, right? or it eludes you a certain way, or maybe take your time and don't rush these skill sets. Maybe it just takes a little bit longer for it to get there. And you'll be paid well for what you're doing right now, but we just can't give you this responsibility until you're really ready for that, right? But let's be clear what that specific thing is, because I'm still not very clear. Let's say, from my perspective, I'm not 100% clear what is fundamentally lacking. Okay, I took a look at this a second. Has Ghani come up with a future vision of the chapter that will help the company grow? Remember, we came up with this slightly after your promotion review. In fact, we didn't have these metrics at all until after your promotion review. So this has been set up, and is he coming up with a vision? I would say, yeah, because the experiments are coming up. If he consistently does experiments, then that helps so much with guiding us towards how to launch and what to launch and when to launch and these things. And that might not be a strategic vision, but I think it's a very good tactical vision.
But then again, we don't have visibility on whether those launch strategy is success or not.
We have the data, right? We know that, let's say, putting travel photos and all that doesn't seem to work. We know eating shots work. We know GIFs work, right, to get people to leave more reviews. That is a vision. That's a good vision. That saves us how much time in the future if people don't have to repeat these things? Or let's ask this: what's your definition of vision? What would remember also the context of sequential promotions, which is if, let's say, Ghani has a vision, can it be opposed to your vision? Would that be okay? Right. Okay. So this is the point. Then that would be resistance in the current development of the chapter, which you did not have to deal with when you set the vision for the chapter, right?
Mm-hmm.
It would be harder to define a strategic vision once the chapters. A lot of the things that we do within chapter now have been visions that we set. Like, I don't think people are even aware they're a vision anymore. They just think of it as this is dogma. This is the way it has to be. The SLA was not always there. It was an idea, and then we implemented it, and then we measured it, and then we made it something real. So, in many ways, strategic vision, once it's been laid down, becomes infrastructure, and it's really difficult, and it's almost hard to imagine a way that it could be any different. Like roads, like telephone, like electricity, all these things. We just take them as given. We don't think that, oh, well, this could be different, right? This could actually be done differently. So then the question is, okay, once the infrastructure has been laid, what is the capacity for the next vision? Is it going to be like we're going to break down everything and redo all the infrastructure again? Or is it something else that is, now that we have electricity, internet, roads, what are we going to do with this?
Meaning vision that's supporting vision.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's a tactical vision, right? A person with no vision would walk into content every day and just not know what to do, right? Like, no idea what I should do. No idea how good content should look like. No idea. You would know, Diva. You would know because this person would need constant supervision and constant coaching and constant like instructions, basically. It would be a freelancer. A freelancer is a person that would, But if a person has already a vision, they don't need to necessarily disrupt your vision or the content vision should be this way. It can be kind of like, listings are very hard to do correctly, right? Listings, we need to get a higher percentage of, let's say, listings launched correctly. So my vision is how to get that to do more smoothly so that I can serve squads and market builders by getting that. That is vision. Nope, maybe that's not vision. I don't know.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, all right. So is he able to represent the content chapters represented in cross-chapter meetings? So between market building, hospitality, revenue management.
Have you done?
No. Has he done that in Squad 4? Right? Has he done that in Squad 2? That's what would be my cross-chapter. Has he reached out past his chapter to interface with other chapters to create solutions?
Representative here means like not only just present there and attend the meeting,
Right.
but the representative that you defend and you will put your suggestion on based on like the content
Yeah.
point of view, right?
Which was already done with, let's say, the Squad 2 hospitality improvements to fix the community management situation.
But then if that would be apa namanya? Consistent because I'm not saying that
Right, sure.
strategy.
Okay, let's look back for consistency. How many times has efforts like that been done by Ghani? How many times has he reached outside of content to work on hospitality, community, revenue management problems?
In Squad 4, I think I'm the one needed. Hey, can you take just basically being like forced by me mostly like, hey, can you take 2 of these? I just really need help, you know.
Delegated, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I just need to.
Is he using a content approach to solve these problems?
Content approach?
Yeah. Is he using a content approach to, let's say, solve
Unless
community
if I'm, because in the revenue we see that, but now because revenue is talking something different, so I'm not gathering as thinking about Squad 1, and that's my initiative. Okay, Squad 4, there's no about strategy and stuff, so and then we make, why do we ask a team thinking like how we can like like technical stuff like I do this on this and then it doesn't work, and then basically like sharing and about the Squad 4 revenue, right? So in that part, like actually, Ghani is contributing, but it's not like not kurang not consistent. When
compared to
you see-
result? Compared to result?
Result, mostly it's working on Squad 1. Funny
So it's
enough,
Ghani, right?
yeah. So, but in Ghani case, I don't know. In Squad 4, I'm still teaching Ghani to be, to be a leader. So
So
basically,
that's LI then, right?
yeah. So
He's
just
receiving.
I said I'm hands up, and I want to see how you do, and
Okay.
then
Okay, so no real consistency on this particular aspect of using a content solution. I would imagine, let's say, my vision is, let's say, if he's using a content solution community, he's thinking of maybe infographics, posters, these type of things that maybe you can post.
on
Or
that
put-
one
He does.
he does.
He does create content solutions to help manage community.
Yes, on that one he does.
Okay. All right. Well, then you have a bit of consistency now in inter-chapter. Okay.
On that one he does.
All right. Decision-making skills. This is the weakest part. Right? So, we don't think he has this, right? I think we all agree that he's not decisive, and that's pretty consistent with what everybody has said. All right. So this brings us to the focal point now. Is that then the crucial piece to becoming LC? Without that, you cannot be LC. Decision-making skills.
Probably.
Yeah?
I'll see it.
If you don't make decisions, you cannot. Okay.
Yeah, that's why I need to be strong. But sometimes I made a mistake. Like,
Is Ghani not strong though?
this has it more like it's strong in that way, not like strong.
Right.
Strong in
No, well, I
front.
mean, like, he's strong in terms of, is he not motivated? Does he have, like, a
It's
lack?
not a bad.
Okay.
Like I think the word the best word is decisive.
He needs to be more decisive. Okay. All right. And yes, he has worked with HR inadvertently. But yeah, sort of. I can't.
LinkedIn, right?
Yeah, but once again, it's sort of. I don't think he even realized it.
So it's not that, but it's the understanding of this word, right?
Of course. Okay. All right. Man, that seems really, really tough because it seems like everything else is there, right? Does he bring up unpleasant issues and discuss the team?
Yeah, that one. Yes.
Okay. Does he take ownership admitting failure and make efforts to fix?
That one, yes.
Yes. Does he lead regular meetings and controls the crowd?
In my side, yes.
Okay. Does he hear feedback and makes less worried workflow from other teammates and deliver solution to meetings and sync up? Okay. Does he able consistently to bring teams together at guild, squad, or chapter level align on a project goal?
On squad for yes.
Yeah. All right. Is he able to effectively delegate, monitor, and progress?
That one, I'm not sure.
Once again, the definition of delegate from him is still unclear.
Poor Ghani. Okay. All right. So
Man, you have no idea how difficult this is. Do you
Yeah.
realize how it's my
no, it's difficult for all of us. Look, we're all here because it's difficult. We all got other things to do, I'm sure, but we're here because this is difficult. All right. Decision making skills. All right.
or is it my expectation that wrong on LC?
Did you have good decision making skills when you were getting started?
Getting started.
When you were promoted to senior?
What do you think? I cannot comment for myself.
So I don't think you've ever been indecisive. I think you've always seen sort of what needs to be done and you go towards it. I've never had this particular
Yeah.
issue.
I think on that part, even though like with other people, like not comfortable.
Yeah. Kiba doesn't have that.
Yeah.
Okay, the hard part is that is Ghani's greatest weakness too. Right? So it's almost like a circle of strength with like a little dot of weakness, and we're just like, this is the failure point.
Hello. Hello, yeah.
Is this
Because you know.
what's fair?
Oh, but they.
What is
Oh,
fair?
can they?
What's fair? I wonder if we were so thorough in Chandra's case. In Chandra's promotion, I was wondering if we were. Chandra was promoted to senior quite a while back. I was thinking,
I think I'm just advisory.
yeah.
I don't have full visibility. It's like, I just don't. I'm hoping that it's not my expectation that it's wrong. I'm hoping that.
Okay, let's explore this. Could Deepa's expectation be wrong for what a senior content person should do? My idea is this, Deepa. If you have senior content people under you, basically you should feel like we don't need to worry about the day to day. Right?
This is what we were talking, right? I basically want Ghani to. I want to be confident that Ghani is in my place. In this term of role as in your content.
Ghani wouldn't be taking her place today. Ghani would be taking her place from a few months back, and you would naturally just kind of go into. So you can't think of a promotion review as like where you are today versus like because you've also progressed.
Okay.
Right?
Okay. Let's just compare it apple to apple.
Yeah.
Me, a few months ago during my promotion.
Yeah. Okay, that's a good question. I couldn't help, and this is just my opinion, that this is far more simple than the current promotion.
But will I still pass with today's metrics?
Hard to say. Coworker feedback. Probably not.
Probably not.
Look at what qualified as hospitality evidence before. It was just like, do you get a few mentions from your coworkers, right? Look at what hospitality means now. It means like that you're essentially making a conscious decision to go and move yourself to help somebody, right? It's not so casual. It's not like oh yeah, everyone just give people a thumbs up, right? It's more like what have you actually done that actually expresses hospitality? I mean, things always change when we go from smaller groups to bigger groups. There needs to be more evidence. Like if it's there's people in a room that we hang around you all day. We know what you do. So that is changed, I think, in terms of the amount of clear evidence that needs to be there. Before you could just get like a tap and say, yeah, this person needs a thumbs up. But now it's more, look at the communication. It's just, it didn't even have the metric of contextual communication and eye contact. That was something we came up with after. So it's also that the standards are higher now.
So we still want to be that way or not? That's
Yeah, we want to have high standards, but we also need to also. Ghani's taking a year at it.
I mean, the time is doesn't matter because the people pace is very different, like very very different. Like what with A and B and C, some people get just good at like fast and then after stop and all right slow, but moving along. It's everyone cannot be judged by like
the amount
length
of tenure, yeah.
Yes.
I agree. That's fundamentally one of our core things here too. All right, it's going to be controversial, right? Because now you've put a pretty high bar for everyone now. Now the next person who gets promoted to senior has to be everything Ghani is, plus decisive, and plus other things too. Which might
be like we, for example, if possible, like promoting, like you have to achieve this kind of thing in this month.
no,
like,
that's not what we do promotions on, right? We do promotions after a person has shown sufficient skill sets and sufficient evidence of that. And the question now is, the skill set that's necessary is to be decisive, is to make some decisions. That's the focal point now. Right? Have there been enough decisions made by Ghani? And as a lead, even in squad 4, has he made any decisions?
Most of the thing, just if
LI, then.
yeah, once in so if like new thing I normally need to bring up this is I'm hoping you learn from me like by bring together.
This could be a good, actually, this might be good, Diva, because I was thinking about another case of Gabby. Gabby was always the first to volunteer too, a lot of times in certain situations, but he never developed decision-making capability. He was first to volunteer. It was my blind spot. I always gave him credit because good to volunteer, right? It's first to be in the area. But it's not just about being the first. It's all about being the first and then taking one step after being the first and continuing taking more steps after being the first.
Yeah.
Not just the first to go to the party, the first to go home. All right. It's a tough call there. More time to discuss or decision time?
It's talking why
stuff.
because we are now still in the water and the oil, so we need to somehow.
I'm more convinced that Ghani isn't ready at this point, but I'm also.
This is what I'm curious right now. During our hours of conversation here, I want to see what do you guys think. You guys say yes. Right now, after our conversation, what do you guys think?
I'm influenced because. Oh, go ahead, babe. You go first.
Why after this
What do you think right
conversation?
now?
Yeah.
After this conversation, like from my point of view, is I'm thinking like both ways, right? Like I'm thinking about moral, I'm thinking about like the standard of
You mean more moral in terms of what's ethical, or moral in terms of
moral
what,
in terms of like
how somebody will feel?
how somebody will
Okay.
feel,
Okay. Yeah.
and instead of a standard. So this is like know,
Morale can't be included here because I think it's of course not getting a promotion is always bad for your morale, right? And sure, not getting a promotion twice can be extra bad to your
yeah,
morale.
that's what I'm thinking. That's the second one.
But that's
So I
never
was-
the. That can't be. If you're not ready,
We
you're not
never
ready.
used that before. What's the reason we use it?
Right. So that can't be. That can't be the. How somebody feels is they have ownership over that. They definitely have ownership with how they feel. We can't say, oh, yeah, because this is going to not make you feel good. This is the reason why. The more important question is fairness versus morale.
Fairness. Yeah.
Fairness, yeah, it has to be fair.
Fairness. Maybe that's my word. Fairness and the standard of the word. So is it fair not to promote Ghani? Is it okay to promote Ghani if he's not ready or he's not filled up like whatever the standard of the promotion list?
Well, then that is actually a very intertwined question. Because is it fair to promote somebody who is, let's say, below the standard to everyone else? Right? It's not just Ghani, it's every other person who will be seeking a promotion, right? Are they there yet? And actually that brings up a good question of people who are already senior, using this new metric now, right? Do they actually deserve to be there now? So it opens up a lot of questions.
Yeah.
Right? So if we say that being senior is on top of being a person that people can be admired and making decisions, it opens up a new question too. Then are there any senior people who actually don't deserve to be there today? There might be, right?
Probably.
There might be.
Oh my God, focus, guys.
No, it's really it's the key, right? The standard and fairness. If we're going to say this person's senior, but they never made a single decision before, should they be senior still? Should we treat them as a senior, right? Let's double check. Okay. All right. Currently, the senior bucket. The senior bucket. Let's see. Currently, is in. All right, Bayou. Has he made decisions before? Yeah. Okay, no doubt, right? Diva. Has Diva made decisions before? Yeah. Okay, no doubt. Jing, he made decisions before? No, he just sits around and jerks off all day. All right, Nung Lee, has she made decisions before?
Yeah.
Okay. Has Rafik made decisions before?
Yeah.
Okay. Has Kenny made decisions before?
Yeah.
Yeah. Has Wayana made decisions before? Yes. All right, so that's consistent. All right. Let's think about people who are kind of in the gray zone now. People who are in the gray zone are Risky. Risky's in the gray now because he's technically a senior because he's had two promotions. Has he made decisions before?
Yeah. In the term of
He is pretty decisive. Yeah, he doesn't dick around and wait for us. Okay, all right. Is there anybody else in the gray? Let's go take a look at the work schedule. If we're going to say this, then let's just make sure we're consistent. Okay. All right. Anybody else who's Alvin? Alvin's in a funny spot. Actually, oh wait, no, let's ask. Has Alvin made decisions? Yes. All right.
Yeah.
Alvin's actually fairly decisive. Okay. Rafik, Bayou, D1. Okay, D1. No. I don't think D1 made a lot of decisions. So that's why we had the same long debate about D1.
Aku selalu follow up.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay. Chandra, does she make decisions?
Yeah, in the operating.
Pretty much. Yeah.
She's in charge.
She's pretty decisive.
She's in charge.
Yeah, she's pretty decisive. She doesn't like wander around the floaty land. Okay. Joel, Tris, Dominic. Dominic, does she make position? Is she decisive? A little bit. Getting a little bit more so. All right. A little bit more so. She decided to execute the order to cut all the partnerships.
Well,
Although
that's her decision.
she didn't need to be convinced too long about it. We talked about it, decided, and then it was done. Not like.
She executed.
But I think she was decisive about how to do it. I didn't have to keep on coaching every day. Okay. Ghani, probably not. Ghani is where the vacuum is. Rizal decisive? Yes, he is decisive.
He already, when he came up to the YouTube plan,
Yeah.
he already decided what's the obvious. I want for this channel.
Very decisive. Yeah. Okay. All right. Shindia, she decisive.
Yeah.
Really?
terms of like a role.
Okay. Okay. All right. Melby's new. Ara.
Also, I'm
Probably not
still
yet.
teaching her how to lead people.
Okay.
Teach people.
Okay.
That's
All right.
my project to know. Normally, like new people I teach, but I
Okay. If you
see-
think so, okay. Okay. So like the pathway. Risky. Is risky decisive
but more like in terms of her role, his role.
within the role, right? Which is all we're talking about, right? At the moment. Vita decisive. Kind of neutral on that one. Okay. More decisive than all right. Okay. All right. Can't recall. Then okay, that's it. That's pretty much that's clear now. Okay, so we can say decisiveness is an attribute of being senior, and without it, it's hard to be senior. All right. This brings me back to the whole at the beginning. This is that whole ascribing versus achievement culture. Some cultures, you make decisions after somebody says you're the decision maker. Some cultures, you can make a decision if you're an intern, right? So, is this something that you would think would improve if you ascribed Ghani the title? You're a decision maker now. Now you can make decisions. You have my blessing. Or is it like not going to change because
Can you demote?
because Diva's supposed to be my decision maker, right?
Can you demote him like?
Which could be a probationary promotion.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh that's another incident.
Promotion with probation.
Oh
Because
my God.
because if you do believe it's an ascribing thing, if you do believe it's because he can't make decisions because he doesn't have the title, right? Because he believes that there's somebody more senior above him that will
No, especially orang tua.
not the case. No.
Like I said, once again, phenotype case. I get full control for him. Like, I believe you're leading the squad.
Right.
You work for content for squad for two. You probably know the property better than me.
Mhm.
You probably know the market there's pain points better than me.
Mhm.
I've tried to give him the opportunity to design,
Mhm.
but still he hasn't come back.
It might be one of those things that, like, I sometimes find that with certain, if you don't give them, how do I say, yeah, that's true. If you've already told them, then how could he interpret any other way, right? How could he feel differently about it? And there is nobody else to do it besides him, right? It's not like, okay. So it wouldn't be like, oh yeah, I have to follow somebody else because they're leading this project. Okay. So it's probably not ascribing. It's not like he's waiting for a title and then.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Maybe it's just you didn't know how to do it other way.
Okay. All right. So what now?
Why not address already answer my question? You haven't answered my question.
Which is
You can say yes at the beginning.
Yeah.
What do you feel now after this conversation?
okay. Most of the way I say yes is probably based on optimism. I'm optimistic about Ghani for a number of reasons. One, I'm optimistic because I feel his methods of experiments is actually a vision finding habit. And I want him to continue to do that. Because if you have that habit of doing experiments, I think eventually you will find the vision. You will discover the correct ways to do this, and that's enormously helpful, right? So all I need from Ghani is that he's just consistent with doing that. And it seems like he is very consistent using experiments to find his way. So I'm not particularly concerned whether or not he's going to find the right method. I think he will, as long as he comes up with experiments. In fact, I'm even more hopeful if he can keep that attitude that it will drive even better results if he goes into digital marketing, if he goes into other things. That is a baseline behavior that will guide him through his career here and beyond, even in finding a vision. So that part's pretty cool. I like the fact that Ghani jumps into doing things, and actually, it's different from Gabby from the other guys because he actually finishes when he starts, right? And I see that as a very strong leadership capability. Going into the unknown, going into things that he doesn't have full competency, taking a risk on a challenge, and then delivering a result that is satisfactory must require quite a bit of struggle and must require the courage and fortitude that we see in leaders. So that is another positive sign. Um, I'm wondering if the decisiveness thing is a cosmetic problem or if it's an actual problem. Right? That's what I'm trying to sort of about. Cosmetic meaning that it's kind of like it doesn't look good in meetings. It doesn't look like whatever, but it's almost counterbalanced by the day-to-day activity. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, the meeting you're not decisive, but let's say after the meeting, your work is decisive. Yeah, your work doesn't show hesitation. Your work doesn't show resistance to actually achieve that goal. Right? Maybe your style of speaking, and he has made enormous amounts of changes to his personality. I've noticed. You notice he doesn't smile. He doesn't. He's almost colder as a person now. If you've been watching, he's far more aggressive than he was before, and in a way, I feel like he so wants this to happen that he's willing to even alter the way that he behaves. Right. So, in the decisive category, I'm wondering if it's a cosmetic issue, like he just doesn't like maybe he's like a public speaker. Right? He's not like all like what you were saying in front of your speech. Oh, I can't do a speech like numbly, whatever. But your work isn't. Actually, I thought you're. Hey, oh my God! You had the same issue too. Sorry, I was wondering why you weren't showing the big numbers during your quarterly review. I was like, don't you realize that like the size of your audiences, you probably had 100,000 people see the content over the quarter, right? And you got this, like really understand the global impact of the work that's happened here.
Thousands of people made a booking.
Yeah, thousands of people made bookings, thousands of trips happened, and these are the faces of the people who actually booked and had great trips and all that stuff. And I know it's like, maybe it's not content's culture to brag and wave their own flag, but it doesn't mean that if you didn't give a good presentation that you didn't do a good job. So in the back of my mind, I'm wondering: is it a cosmetic issue? Is it actually a work issue? So I'm also okay. So I'm thinking in terms of that. I'm also thinking about like this. Is this something that will not? Normally, I don't promote somebody when I think that they need a lesson, right? They need to be emphasized that they're incomplete in some fundamental way. That they're skipping over like it's like a wake up call. Like please like pay attention to this. And I can't feel that way about Ghani's case. I can't feel the way that like he needs a wake up call on a particular thing that he's doing incorrectly. Um, have I been swayed over this time? I kind of noticed, yeah, on a particular case, what revolves in my mind now is understanding. That's kind of like my focal point. Does Ghani understand how to connect all these dots together? And without understanding, then how is one supposed to make other people understand? Right?
If I can choose between, if I can only choose one
Right.
for Ghani,
Yeah.
or the Ghani can, I feel like it's a game, right? And then there's two skills that Ghani can advise, but I can only get one. Is it decisiveness or understanding? I would choose understanding.
So it's understanding. Yeah.
It's important to every room. Like,
Wow.
understanding-
Okay, that's even more fundamental. So he's not decisive because he doesn't understand.
Understanding is basic, right?
It is.
I can choose between those two. I'll prefer to understand who they did, his impact, his work, the pain points of our times.
I see. You know.
Toilet break.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right. Cap.